Hi, so I'm jumping on here to talk about loss and grieving and why people leave, and is there a bigger purpose, a bigger plan, and what we may not understand about it all. But first I'm going to read a poem that I wrote because I have told you on this YouTube channel that writing is the way I express myself when I'm having a bad day, when I feel like I miss my son Jason so much. It gives me an outlet to write something about him. So this is the poem that I wrote on one of those days. Someday I will see you and we will meet again, but will I even know you if you do not look the same? I'll see a familiar face in the middle of a crowd, and I'll be hesitant to reach you or to say your name out loud. To you I will look different, since age has changed me too. Who is this woman who stands in front of you? But my smile will be a giveaway, and my voice for sure you'll know, and then you'll recognize me by the love I have to show. There's little ways I find you, like when a penny is at my feet. It commonly shows up at a place we used to meet. Or I see your favorite number when I'm wishing you were here, and suddenly I'm comforted because you're telling me that you're near. So many days have passed without you by my side, so many nights when I've talked to you and cried. Someday I will see you, and we will meet again, and I will certainly know you, even though you don't look the same. So I wrote that for Jason, but it could be for anybody that you're missing and that you long to see. And even if you believe you'll see him again, will they be the same person, or will it be in the same situation that you'll know who they are? But what I really wanted to talk about in this particular video is that a lot of times I find that when people leave us, there seems to be a bigger plan that we're not aware of. And for years, I did say that. Like, I would say to my husband that it's like a big tapestry, and you see a little thread connected to another thread, connected to another thread. But unless you can stand back and see the entire picture, you don't really understand the threads. Like one thread next to another thread next to another thread may only look like 3 threads in maybe one particular color. But when you stand back and you view the whole picture, you might realize that those threads are leaves on a tree. And I did say that after Jason passed away, I did say that a lot. And again, I don't know if I was always such a person of faith, or if the only way I can make sense of Jason's death was by believing in my faith, and having to believe there's a bigger picture was my only way of maybe coping with what happened. So just as a side note to my conversation, I have to tell you that I mentioned on this YouTube channel that after Jason passed away, we adopted my daughter from China. And while we were in China, we would go on the buses from different provinces for different reasons. First, we flew into Beijing. From Beijing, we went to Xi'an, where she was from. From Xi'an, we went to Guangzhou, and from Guangzhou, we went to Hong Kong. So there were a lot of legs to the trip. And each time we'd go to a different province, we would hear what that province was noted for. So one province was noted for like terracotta, another one was noted for jade, one was noted for silk. So when we got to Xi'an, where my daughter is from, one of the families said, well, what is Xi'an known for? And the guide said, it's known for tapestry. And me and my husband just squeezed each other's hands, because it was just like so fitting that they would say that word, tapestry, because I had been saying for a few years that what happened to Jason was just part of a tapestry, and we don't know the big picture, but that hopefully, for whatever reason, there was a plan in motion, and this was part of the plan. He was part of the plan, and his untimely passing was part of a plan. But what I originally really wanted to talk about was when a lot of times when people pass, I know, like, I have friends, and let's say they're in a bad marriage and they get divorced, and then one of their parents pass away, and a couple of years will go by or months will go by, and they meet somebody who they fall in love with, and they say something like, "I think my mother sent him to me." That I hear a lot. Then there are times when I've heard people who, get something that they were wishing for, whether it be to get into a college or whether it was to find a certain house or something that they've been wanting, and then somebody passes, and then, like, time goes on and they get what they wanted. They would say things like, "I really believe my mom made it happen," or my dad was able to make this happen. So what I want to say is that maybe, and I don't know this because I haven't been taught this, and it's just, again, something that goes across my mind, is that there's only certain things we can do down here as mortals. And we are in these bodies, and these bodies do give us limitations because we're mortals, and we can do what we can do. But for all we know, maybe when you are free from these bodies, or maybe when you pass on, you have more abilities, and you do get to help people in different ways. And maybe it's all part of a plan, or maybe even the loved ones maybe make sort of a decision, or come to not make it happen, but are okay with passing, and then they're able to do things that they couldn't do for us down here on earth. I do think that a lot of times when people are in the hospital or people are suffering, and a loved one goes over to them in the hospital and says, "It's okay for you to leave. I'm okay with that." The person seems to pass like a day or two later. They almost needed to hear that from the people here. Or, like in my case, a personal case I can speak from is my mom wanted us very badly to buy a house when she had gotten sick and she was having kidney failure, and we were actually in the process of looking for a house, and we were having trouble getting mortgage commitment. And she kept asking me every single day, "Did you get the mortgage commitment? Did you get the mortgage commitment?" And like I said, she was sick at this point. She was in the hospital. And I remember, like, on February 12th, I got the mortgage commitment that year. And I said to my mom, "We got the mortgage commitment." And she passed away on February 15th. So once she knew I was settled, once she knew that I got the mortgage commitment, she felt like she could go. And I've heard that a lot from people, like, if they know their loved ones are okay, or they've been waiting to hear that their loved one is someplace where they're safe and they're in a good place, they almost feel like it's okay for them to leave. And again, I just wonder, or would like to sort of think, there is a bigger plan to everything we see. We can only see the small acts of the individual circumstances, and we see that maybe somebody gets sick and has to leave, but maybe that person is leaving and they're going to be able to do something that in the long run is going to help somebody else in some other way. And I don't know if this totally makes sense, but it's one of the ways that I think we have to sort of look at things from not just the perspective of the one individual, but how that one individual's act or that one individual's passing makes a difference in a larger picture, in a larger scope of things. And especially if you lose a parent, which is very, very hard, but they've lived a good life and they've experienced a lot and they've watched children and grandchildren grow up. I think it's easier to think, well, maybe they're part of a plan, that their passing will then help their loved ones in a different way. And in the overall scheme of things, they're giving of themselves to the family as a whole. Now, in my case, losing a 13-year-old son, I don't think many people would feel that it was justified that he left us. And I understand that, and I had anger, and I had all those feelings. But if there's a larger plan, and God knows the plan, and maybe that particular thing happened so that a bigger picture in this world would be in focus, I don't know if it's for me to question and for me to understand, because we are just a part of this great plan. We are not the makers and breakers or designers of the plan. So I wanted to talk about that, and maybe it's given people some food for thought. You're certainly welcome to comment below. I would definitely read them, and I'll definitely express them on this channel. And I will talk about other subjects that come across my mind to maybe talk about. And I will read more of my poems. So I hope you have a good day, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.